Great. So I'd just like to welcome to the stage Markéta, who works for Czech Film Center, which is part of the Czech Film Fund, and also Pavlína, who is the head of the Czech Film Commission, part of the Czech Film Fund, and lastly Petr, who is head of Barrandov Studios, which is the biggest studios in Czech Republic, in fact the second biggest in Europe.
The world.
Oh, sorry, the world. Okay. No, which is more than 90 years old or young. So, firstly, Markéta, if you could, I believe it's an anniversary for you here at Cannes. If you could
Several
talk
of
about
them. Yeah, it's the 20 years since we have a pavilion and a presentation at the Marché du Film. Because actually in 2004, Czech Republic, the 1st of May, entered European Union with some of our colleagues from other countries. And then, like 2 weeks later, we had the first pavilion. So it makes it 20 years of our presence at the market. But it also makes it 20 plus anniversary of Czech Film Center, of Czech Film Commission. But later on, 10 years ago, there was a new law which installed Czech Film Fund, which I welcome here, the CEO and the driving force behind it all. And then we merged into one institution, so the Czech Film Center and Czech Film Commission joined with the Czech Film Fund. And on top we have the 90 plus anniversary of Barrandov, so that's...
And I believe you've got two filmmakers from... that are in the festival this year. Maybe if you could introduce them.
Yeah, because our mission at Czech Film Center is to promote films and talents internationally, and also we try to accompany them and help producers and filmmakers to make their films and promote them outside and release them outside. But this year we are especially lucky because, as you said, we have two filmmakers that have been developing their projects in La Résidence. It was the fall edition with Diana Kam van Goyen and the summer or spring edition with Daria Kasčijová. So I will now ask Diana to present her project In Between Worlds.
Hello everyone. Hello. So I'm Diana Kam van Goyen. I am the director, and as Markéta said, I was selected in the fall session, and I was developing my first feature. It's a combination film of live action and animation, and the story is based on my real experience that several years ago when I was 22, a good friend of my parents asked me to marry his son in Vietnam. If I would do that, I would help him to get to Czech Republic, to Europe, and they offered me 20,000 euros to do it. And I'm the only person in my family to have this dual citizenship, Czech and Vietnamese one. So that's the core of the story, the key situation, and the story goes on. And now I'm writing a script, and we are planning to shoot a proof of concept in September.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Daria was here actually last year with her film Elektra in La Cineve, but now she is developing her first feature as well.
Yeah, so I'm in the early stage of the development. Now I'm working on the first draft of the script, and it's going to be science fiction gender dystopia. The story is take place 50 years after gender and family abolition revolution, and it's a society where there are no women, no them, and all individuals are uniform, neutral sex. So they are free from gender inequalities and social biases. So my kind of main idea to question binary division of concept of gender in society and to explore the topic of gender, because I think this concept couldn't be in a 2 boxes or 3 boxes or wherever, but for me it's like diversity and fluidity which gender could embrace. And I'm going to continue to experiment. I've started already in the film Electra, Markéta mentioned, which was premiered last year, and I'm going to continue to develop the technique of combination of live action and animation, stop motion animation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Markéta, these are both animation projects, and also animation is very strong in Czech Republic. Could you talk a little bit more about what's coming up in terms of animation?
Yes, we are very proud of our animated films and the part of that industry. And since several years already, we regularly have a project presented at Cartoon Forum or Movie, but also in Annecy, but then also premiering. And this year, so in a month and not even, there will be 7 short films and 2 feature-length animated films in Annecy, and even a project presented at MIFA Pitches. So it's quite a nice continuation, nice visibility for animated works, and there's a variety of styles and stories and techniques, but it's very nice, and I think it's very nicely bridging also because those 2 wonderful directors, they both work in animation and combine it and make it a little bit further to new levels. So,
and moving on to other Czech features, I mean, you've got a very big Czech feature shooting at the moment. Maybe you could talk about France.
yes, that's a project that we are very proud of. And I will just introduce that we have the main producer Šárka Cimbalová here in the audience, and Kevin van Thompson, producer from Czech Anklo Production, here as well. So France, as you probably know, and by the title you can guess, it's inspired by the life and the work and the philosophy, in a way, even of Franz Kafka, well-known writer that live in Prague. And the shooting just started now, like 2 weeks ago. The director is Aniška Holland, whom I'm sure you know as well. And it's a very interesting way how to work with his Franz Kafka work and his works, because it's a mosaic kind of multi-layered film, and it's quite a big co-production, Czech Republic, Germany, Poland. And yeah, as I said, the shooting started, so we can't wait to see some results. And I have seen already, so I can say it looks wonderful. Okay. Thank you for that.
And maybe you could talk a little bit more about co-production and how you can facilitate co-production internationally.
So as I said, France is majority Czech film, but we also have a specific scheme for minority co-productions. The budget is 1.6 million euros per year. We always have 2 calls, one in the spring, one in the summer, fall, and it's basically aimed for co-productions that come, and then there is a share, let's say 10 to 20% of the Czech share, as usually you have to have a Czech co-producer on board. And it's aimed at fiction, documentary, animated films of all lengths. And of course, there is a fund council that decides on the applications and what's taken into account, how much you involve Czech talents, how much the cooperation is also on the creative side, but also how much you use services in Czech Republic. So. And I think what's interesting that you can also, as a producer coming to Czech Republic, combine the minority co-production scheme with production incentives that my colleague will present later on.
And Petr, I believe you have a very big budget international production coming in to the studios. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I will follow up a little bit more to Markéta, just to mention that besides of the movie France, we are co-producer of this movie also. We are actually a very, very big supporter of the Czech cinema at all. At this moment, we are co-producer of 7 movies. There are another 2 movies which will be in the Czech Republic premiere this year. One of them is Americanka, American Girl, directed by the Viktor Tausch. The second one, which I would like to mention here, is a movie, The Airwaves, Vlny is the Czech name for that, directed by a very famous Czech, actually, actor and director also. Now back to the topic. Yes, I can definitely confirm that in the last 5 years we have a huge boom of fantasy and science fiction genre in the Czech Republic and on the Barrandov Studios. We are working on this project. For this year, we are so excited to have a project, Blade Runner 2099. Probably everyone knows what I'm talking about. We are at the beginning, absolute beginning at this moment, and we are starting to build the sets in our stages, and in our backlog. What I can also confirm, there is first big star, it's a Michelle Yeoh, but probably you know her. It's an Oscar-winning actress, so she is coming to Prague. We are really happy for that. And Film United is the service company, actually, who have it on the Barrandov Studios. Truly, they have almost all Barrandov for this project at this moment, and for this year it looks like, it will be really the biggest project in the Czech Republic, definitely. But also I would like to mention, because I spoke about the genres, what we have in the Czech Republic, last big projects what we have on the Barrandov Studios, for example, Wheel of Time. It's an Amazon project based on the novel Robert Jordan. It's actually, project which we shoot on Barrandov Studios like 3 or 4 years now at this moment. Another very famous project what we did in the same genre, it's Carnival Row with the Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne, probably also very famous actors for you. But it's not only about these genres. I also would like to mention that the Czech Republic and the Barrandov Studios is very famous, if you would like to shoot some historical genres. So, for example, the last projects, what we have had there, The Empress, it's for Netflix, Hagen, we are in France, so let's speak about the Chevalier movie, which did it in the Czech Republic and Barrandov Studio. And the last year projects, for example, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu remake, very famous, movie, what we probably will see at the end of this year. And I should mention the series Interview with the Vampire. Second series was shot now on the Czech Republic. And what's interesting, if I'm speaking about the Barrandov Studio, we bought the set from the series. It's a Parisian street. You will see it in the magazines here. We are speaking all the time about that. It's a huge set with the 20 buildings, 10 interiors. It's possible to rent for the project. It's a replica 19th century Paris. So it's very important to speak about that it's not just one set what we have on the Barrandov Studios. There is also another bigger set. It's a 14th century Paris. We love the France and Paris, probably from the series Nightfall. So is it possible even to rent this one? There is like 80 buildings. It's a 15,000 meter of square place, for the filmmakers to shoot there. Barrandov Studio is a huge place also, because we have 14 stages. We have, of course, excellent set department. So mostly that's why is everyone going to the Czech Republic is to use these services. And we have costume and props department. So it's definitely ready for everyone to go to the beautiful Czech Republic and use the Barrandov Studios for their project.
Thanks. And Pavlína, maybe you could talk about the benefits in terms of the incentive and the stability of the structures and other benefits of shooting in the Czech Republic, like the strength of the crews and the locations.
Yes, well, I think I would like to start with the incentives, because that seems that it's like the most important thing, because it's a cornerstone of the deciding process, or where to site the productions. And if there is only one thing you need to remember from this session, then it is that the Czech Film Fund production incentives scheme is open. It will never close again. Let me repeat, it is opened, it's not closing down. Yes! To elaborate on this a little, I received interesting Christmas present because our president signed right before Christmas the tiny amendment to the current law ensuring that the fund is not going to close down in case we have an overwhelming number of projects entering the program. And right now there is another dramatic rewrite of the current law. It will start the legislative process in next month, probably, the most probably. Of course, it's going to take some time. First government, then parliament, then Senate needs to vote for it, and then the president signs it. However, we strongly believe that it will come into force January 2025. There are several major changes. One of them is that the cap is going to be more than double from what it is now. That means about $15 million, maybe more, but we'll see about that. And also the financing scheme is going to be different. Right now there is a line in the national budget, and it's been like that since 2012 when the production scheme was established. And from next year is going to be contribution by the streamers, the parafiscal levies 6 to 7 times, plus the mirror effect. The government will add exactly the same amount, and right now it's budgeted about $92 million per year, which is a significant increase. This year we have 52.
And maybe you could talk a little bit about the locations and the strength of the crews.
Yes, well, infrastructure-wise, this is something that we have always been really proud of, because there is amazing tradition of filmmaking in the Czech Republic. And yes, studios goes with the word tradition, absolutely. And then we have 11 centuries of architecture, which means that we can really sub for almost any place in the world. Paris, usually Paris street set as well, that adds to the architecture. And we have 11 regional offices that can really support you in the regions. They also have their regional funds that you can combine to boost your financing plan. And that applies to international projects as well.
And I believe there's a lot of big budget German productions which come into the Czech Republic. Maybe you could give an example.
I think that you probably mean what's being shot right now. It's actually Disney, but it's produced by a cooperation, the Czech service company and the German one. And it's another vampire show, actually, slated to shoot over 110 days. It's called City of Night, City of Blood. It has 2 titles at the moment. And it's set in near future Berlin, actually.
And are there other productions you'd like to mention coming up?
Coming up, well, the Blade Runner is like the number one. Actually, I would like to mention one because we are quite popular for independent movies as well. And in April, independent US movie wrapped with starring Joan Collins. She's actually going to be 19 next week, and she's coming to Cannes to celebrate her birthday. It's a thriller based on Agatha Christie's novel called Murder Between Friends.
Great. And going back to you, Petr, could you talk a little bit about developments at the studio? I believe you're investing in new facilities.
Okay. So, how I mentioned here, probably the goal of the Barrandov Studio is the set department, So we are now finishing a new building. It's an investment around $5 million of US dollars. And it will be a new house for the set department on the Barrandov Studio. And also at this moment, I can to tell you now that we are ready to start to build another new 2 stages. It's investment around 10 million of US dollars. We will start on January, and at the end of the year, it should be ready for the filmmakers, to use it. So for the year 2026, absolutely, there will be the capacity even bigger in the Czech Republic on the Barrandov Studio now for this moment. Still, I think it's necessary to mention here, because it's not just about the facilities and the services on the Barrandov Studios, but to go to the Czech Republic it's very important to think about complexity, about the cities, about the castles, about the infrastructure in the Czech Republic, you know. So many times I heard the issues, yeah, I have 20, you have 30 or 40% of incentives, but truly, if you would like to do something in really good quality, and definitely if it's in the historic genre, fantasy genre, science fiction genre, the Czech Republic is one of the best in the Europe, you know. It's not so much about the percentage, it's definitely about the whole complete infrastructure in the Czech Republic. And you can see the results, and maybe it's even good, you know, to speak with the mentioned projects here. We spoke about them, and with the producers, you know, directors, even with the actors about their experience, you know, how is it easy and beautiful to live in Prague, in the Czech Republic, and shoot their series on the movies. So I think it's a very important message for today also, what I would like to tell.
And Markéta, would you like to add any kind of upcoming projects, co-productions that we haven't mentioned before, or Czech productions like Caravan?
Yes, we have several projects by very interesting directors. One of them is Caravan by Zuzana Kirchnerová, because she actually won La Cine Fondation some years ago, and she is finishing now her first feature, which will be ready by the beginning of next year. And it's a co-production with Italy, because the whole story takes place in Italy, so it was shot in Italy and with Tempesta, the Italian co-producer. And I would maybe also mention Little Thief by Ondřej Hudeček, because he traveled with his short films also around many festivals, but then won a directing award in Sundance. And this is his first feature that I think also will be ready by the end of the year. And it's, I think, quite interesting way how to portray pandemic and everything that happened. But it's not about the pandemic itself, but it takes place in a small village in Moravia where there is a group of little thieves. And one of them, in order to help a man that only stand for him and helped him when he was released from the juvenile prison, he robs his establishment, because then he can get insurance, but then the world spreads and everyone wants this kind of help. And so he's in this very tricky situation that he actually just wanted to help without the man knowing it, but yeah, he has to deal with this kind of topic. So it's a bit of course, also a social, ironic look at what's going on.
Sure. Pavlína, do you want to add anything to that, or about upcoming projects?
Well, actually, only this morning I was thinking that we usually say that we are a popular destination, subbing for almost all over the world, like I said before, and 11th centuries of architecture. I already said that. Then in the first half of the 20th century, both of the wars, I mean, All Quiet on the Western Front, a movie that actually won 4 Oscars, and 4 Czechs were nominated for an Oscar in the main category. That's the film that was entirely shot in the Czech Republic, so that's something that really pleases me every time I think about it. But yes, the wars, then the second half of the 20th century architecture, yes. But thinking about the themes, it's really been vampires lately, because last year, Nosferatu, Interview with the Vampire, actually the Chicago Tribune has just wrote a nice review saying that it's the best TV drama of the decade and one of the best Gothic shows of the time. So that's quite an achievement. And now this year, City of Light, again, City of Night, again, vampires. So we'll see where it all goes.
And Markéta, you also have another role with the European Film Promotion as the chair. Maybe you could talk about the Czech entry in Producers on the Move.
So just briefly, European Film Promotion is a network of national institutes promoting cinema It's European, and we are 38 members from 37 countries. Because Belgium has 2 representations, that's why it's... and we actually team up to promote European films and talents mainly abroad. And we have different programs for actors. It's Shooting Stars at Berlinale, but here in Cannes we have a program called Producers on the Move. And we celebrate this year the 25th anniversary. A lot of anniversaries, really. And so it means it's already a quite strong network of more than 500 producers. And when you look at what they have done, what they have achieved, although at the time they were producer on the move, because you have to be, in a way, upcoming, not having done more than 3 co-productions. And by now, these are producers that have regularly filmed in Berlin, in Cannes, Venice, Sundance. And so it's quite impressive, and it's a program that we do before the festival, and then here in Cannes, basically introducing them to international film scene and facilitating them a little bit, like the connection for their next career.
And could you just mention the Czech producer who's on the program?
Thank you very much. I now switched the hat for European film promotion. We are quite successful as Czech producers because we are members since 20 years, 21, and we already had 20 producers. And this year is Kristýna Michálek-Květová from Cinemotiv Films. And she is now in post-production with the fiction film by Veronika Lišková. They work together already, and Cinemotiv Films and Kristýna, they do quite a variety from documentary films, fiction films. So yeah, that's a very promising production company, and maybe if there are producers in the room, one of the partners eventually for co-production.
Great. Well, thank you, Petr, Pavlína, Markéta, and thank you all to the audience. And stand by for the next panel.
Maybe if you would like to know more, we have our pavilion in the Village International. It's number 140. We are there until the end of the market. Welcome.
Or please come to Barrandov Studios in Prague, to the Paris
next
Street,
step.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.